2022 has quickly become the year of inflation as the global economy is battling the effects of low interest rates that we have seen over the past few years, as well as the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war on commodities and supply chains. Now, over here in Canada, we've seen the Bank of Canada move aggressively to curb inflation, with the forecast calling for several aggressive interest rate hikes over the rest of the year. Now, with one massive half-a-point hike barely sinking in, there are talks of yet another massive interest rate hikes on the horizon. And with this in mind, let's take a look at what this means for you and your mortgage, especially if you're currently paying for a mortgage or are in the market for one. Stay tuned because we'll talk about all this. But before we do that, please drop a like down below, as it does help out the channel, and let me know what kind of videos you like so I can keep giving you more of that. And with that said, let's get right into it. 2 weeks after the Bank of Canada increased interest rates by half a point to 1%, the governor of the Bank of Canada has already signaled that another interest rate hike is on the horizon. And this one, just like the previous one, is more likely to be another massive size hike expected at another half a point. Now, Tiff Macklem has been quoted as saying, "Inflation is too high. It is higher than we expected. We will be considering taking another 50 basis point step." Now, this decision will be made at the next rate decision meeting that will be held in June. Now, when you compare this to just a few months ago, there was a hint, but at the rate at which it has been going, I really don't think anyone expected the interest rate hikes to be this aggressive. And there are a few reasons for that. I think the first reason is that no one had a crystal ball to see the Russia-Ukraine conflict unfolding the way that it did. And this has put a lot of pressure on commodity prices. Oil prices going up means that the cost of transport goods now goes up, which then leads to the increased cost of goods. Speaking of goods, another factor to be considered here are continued supply chain issues. Now, this occurred before the war even started. Now, when it is hard to get goods to the market, there are less goods available. Less supply means higher prices. Now, both of these are global issues, and the timing has pretty much compounded the effect of inflation. And with both of these being global issues, there's no guarantee that the Bank of Canada's rate increase will have any effect, since the rate increases will be local to Canada. But we'll see what happens over the next few months. Now, there are some fears that these aggressive hikes could actually be bad for the economy, as it could push the economy into a recession, which will effectively reset the clock on interest rates. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Now, the aggressive nature of these interest rate increases is to try and combat the inflation rates, which as of April sits at about 6.8%, which means that the cost of goods are 6.8% more expensive than they were a year ago. Now, the goal of the Bank of Canada is to get inflation down to about 2%, and they're pretty confident that they can achieve this within the next few years while avoiding an economic collapse, aka a depression. Now, when you take a look at the effect on housing and transportation, we see a very big impact as these costs are currently high. But with the rise in interest rates, we can see that there's already an effect on housing pricing. Let's take a look at the GTA, since that's where a lot of people are concerned with right now. Now, the good news about the GTA is that we're starting to see some effects of the higher interest rates, as we're seeing a little bit of stagnation in the pricing of housing. And in some cases, we're seeing the sold prices start to drop a bit. We're also seeing housing stay on the market a little longer than we saw in previous months, which signals that there isn't as much demand for housing, as there are less people now competing for housing, since less people are qualifying for mortgages at the various pricing brackets. If you're considering buying a property or already pre-approved, this could be a great time because we are already seeing a shift in pricing power from the buyer to the seller. Time will tell how steep a drop we'll see in the market, but if you're considering buying and don't have a pre-approved mortgage, now is a good time to apply for one, as this will lock you into favorable rates before further increases occur and put you in a good position to purchase a property at reduced prices from earlier this year. That's it for now. Please drop a thumbs up below if you liked the video. Questions and comments are always appreciated and shows your support for the channel. And with that said, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.